This is my Potter's Journal for Thanksgiving week 2023. I'm busy making wreaths and greens, but my head never away from the pottery. I've taken a renewed interest in the pottery of Potter Georgia O'Keeffe. Is this something you knew? This is something I knew, but and I'm not going to give you anything. I renewed interest because of so much there is now on YouTube. Lectures you can see, and I think by the Georgia O'Keeffe Foundation or Museum, whatever it is. But here's another one I found interesting. Georgia O'Keeffe, the cook. Okay, a painter's kitchen, recipes from the kitchen of Georgia O'Keeffe. So this was really new to me. This was something I didn't know about. And I have a number of artist cookbooks. We don't think of them in the kitchen, especially Georgia O'Keeffe. But when I first picked this up, the other ones I have were all lavishly illustrated with pictures of the artist's life and the food and their history. This, I was first a bit disappointed because it was all just black and white and it seemed a recipe book. But in the end, it turned out it had a bit more than some of the others, that each of the recipes came with a story from, I believe it was her overnight and breakfast caretaker and friend. And it seemed that most of her staff were not only doing the job they were due, if they were a state manager, or they were also friends as well. So this was new to me, but let's start with Georgia O'Keeffe. Since this is a Potter's channel, let's start with Georgia O'Keeffe, the potter. Okay, so and why so many Georgia O'Keeffe books, I was wondering. I think it was my high school art teacher had us painting skulls, and she got this. So it was published in '76. Also, my grandmother probably got me books that she wanted. She was an artist, just like I got my niece books on Renaissance art last year for Christmas. And you know, this picture, well known, or a few others similar of hers in the pottery studio. It says here, usually they're attributing the pots to Juan Hamilton. I know the cloud paintings are a favorite of mine. I know the ladies love the skull paintings. And her famous mountain, a number of Cézanne had a mountain that he had painted over and over again too. I'm going to say that I think my favorite were some of her more minimalistic, like the shadows here. But, another one I found, I don't remember this one, but I did remember reading it when I glanced through. Laurie Lisle, Portrait of an Artist, biography of Georgia O'Keeffe, and a picture of her and Stiglitz, Alfred Stiglitz, on the back cover. Yeah, no, I remember reading the front and being interested in, a student, all different kinds of directions in art, and the watercolors and her painting underneath the car to escape the heat. I don't remember reading the last chapters. I've really found those more interesting now, so it's taken me maybe 30 or 40 years to finish reading these. Also, the perspective on how she's seen as an artist. In the last chapter that's starting to take shape. Interesting too how it's changed over time, watching all the videos and how she's seen now. But no, the pots and the pottery, the ceramic. Juan Hamilton, potter, comes into her life looking for a job as a handyman. Ends up inheriting vast portions of her estate. Now, there is the book and movie we're waiting for. But I've come up with, here, Sotheby's Auction House, Sotheby's 2020. I don't know if it's called a show, like you do in a gallery, but Alfred Stiglitz, Georgia O'Keeffe, Juan Hamilton, Passage. 100 works from Hamilton collection includes hardly known pottery. Now, the pottery is not hardly known, But my question is just how much of it is there? 6 pieces of pottery, rarely seen, 3 textured, 3 minimalistic, and that's about all that I picked up. And these are the notes that I've taken in my potter's journal. I sketched out the pieces that I've come up with and seen. There were maybe 2 or 3 that were, one actually I remember that was crudely made, maybe on a potter's wheel and not hardly much refined, and then 3 that were refined. Of all the research, these were the only 6 that I really could come up with that were attributed to Georgia O'Keeffe. And I opened with Potter's Journal, but I've got to say I'm Jeff. This is hardly the place to go for really great information. It's just what I've been getting into lately. This is from Kyla Carlson. She, I guess that time, or is the head of Sotheby's American Art. And the way I copied the quote is, I do think about the pottery. I do think she took it seriously. It was a process that she found engaging and enjoyed, and she was prolific. And there's where I have the question. There's where I would like to know more, that, you know, in the short period of time, how prolific was she, and just where are these pots? Okay, it goes on. There is a large body of work produced circa 1980 with Juan Hamilton's inspiration and assistance. Okay, so this is with his inspiration and assistance. This was, you know, possibly a collaborative thing, but and that doesn't mean doing somebody else's work, but collaborative in mind and spirit as well. And I even going to go back to pulling this out. Those photos that we've seen of her with the pots or sculpture from the, let's see, the 70s, I believe, 74 to 80. But here we go back to a painting of hers. Painting of hers of an, what is it, an alligator pear from 1922. So way, way, way predates pottery with influences so much very the same. To simplify that, you know, somebody might say that he did the work. Somebody else might say he copied her avocado pear from 22. It's not unusual to have others, you know, do your work. Through all the way back to I was reading last year that the Giotto, maybe Assisi Chapel or something, that the entire book, I got sick of reading it because that's all it was about, was what parts of his chapel paintings were attributed to who, and when and where and how. It brings to mind too a little bit the Warhol and Basquiat collaboration. So yeah, no, I'm going to say mind and spirit on this one, and probably it's only Juan Hamilton who could write the book and give us the story. But that too, once that was done, would bring up the debating his part of the story. When I saw that picture, Georgia O'Keeffe in an apron stirring a pot in the kitchen, that was just beyond my imagination. But I guess artists have to eat too. Okay, and the Margaret Wood is the author here. She was the overnight and breakfast caretaker friend. There are a few pictures. One of her, let's see, in the kitchen with an apron chopping parsley or something, and somebody actually a caretaker in the garden around the adobe house. But the recipe's very simple, very plain, very health conscious. Not today would have to have everything much more and fancy. Salads, okay, watercress, beets and greens, herb stuffed tomatoes, guacamole, cottage cheese and orange salad. That's something I would often do, a cottage cheese and fruit salad myself. Cabbage salad with walnuts and apples. The pictures here are not even, they're just something put together. So the color is not anything from her life or house. But so the caretaker added the stories, which would include Things like picking the stuff out in the garden, or why you know what, I'll jump to one. Thanksgiving, since that's what is this week. Thanksgiving. The stove was a very old-fashioned, gas, white enameled stove, and it wasn't even a big one, very small stove with a small oven. So they actually arranged to have the turkey cooked in a neighbor's oven. They got up at 4 in the morning, and at dawn drove it to a friend's to cook it and then bring it back for the gathering. So living in such a simple, plain house, okay, and then making do and getting to somebody else's to cook your Thanksgiving meal. So there are tons of soups and salads, wild asparagus, purslane, but mostly vegetables boiled with just a bit, or steamed with just a bit of oil, so very health cautious. The biggest outside of the Thanksgiving turkey was roast lamb with dandelion greens and mashed potatoes. I've done the mashed potatoes and kale and and squash, but that was a new one to me with the dandelion greens. Chicken curried or baked with lemon, T-bone steak, beef stew, meatloaf, herbed omelets, quiche, tomatoes, souffle, a few southwestern things too, because this is where that's from. Enchiladas, a different kind, green chili sauce, pozole. Section on breads and cereals and grains. I just got a stone mill grain grinder, so I'm going to be getting into that. I did try the Irish soda bread. I didn't like it. I have my own recipe, but mostly I see recipes as a place to take inspiration from and then transpose the same way you would with your art. A really big and main reason I like it is for the short little stories that come with each recipe, that include big and small moments from life about how something may have been picked in the weeds in the driveway that were then put into a salad, or how she didn't go to a President Carter Women's in the Arts Award because she had done that kind of thing, or didn't, and I may have picked this up somewhere else, didn't take a meeting with Picasso that she could have had because she said, well, I don't know that he'd really want to see me, and I don't think that I really want to see him. So she knew who he was. So mine will fit in my oven. No big stories there. I could probably fit 4 of these in my oven. That was kind of an unexpected Potter's Journal, Potter's Kitchen, Potter's Book Review episode for me. Stop back and see what's going on in the studio next week, and stop back next year around Thanksgiving for another artist in the kitchen.